The Type 095 submarine program, long advertised by Chinese authorities as a cornerstone of their future naval power, remains mired in ambiguity, exaggeration, and tightly controlled narratives. Despite years of bold claims, the platform has become more of a political symbol than a proven military asset. China's deliberate use of secrecy, censorship, and state-driven hype around the Type 095 is not simply a feature of its military doctrine, it is the entire strategy. It reflects a system where image outweighs substance and where manufactured perception is treated as a substitute for verifiable success. This project has been discussed in public circles since at least the early 2010s, with suggestions from pro-government analysts that the submarine would be a revolutionary addition to the People's Liberation Army Navy. These statements emphasized that the Type 095 would leapfrog Western technology in stealth, sensors, propulsion, and underwater combat. And yet, more than a decade later, there is no concrete proof that the submarine is operational. No trials have been openly acknowledged. No performance data has been disclosed. No exercises have confirmed its capabilities. What exists is speculation, repeated slogans, and a persistent absence of accountability. This lack of clarity is not accidental. It is a controlled outcome, facilitated by the Chinese Communist Party's dominance over all military and media institutions. The regime has created an information environment in which even questioning the progress of such projects is treated as dissent. Engineers, officers, or observers who might raise concerns do not have the freedom to speak publicly. Independent journalists cannot investigate the status of the submarine. Civilian researchers do not have access to meaningful data. In this system, the public is not informed, it is conditioned. From the outside, this can create the illusion of unstoppable progress. That is precisely the point. China's leaders understand that modern military power is not only measured in actual deployments, but in how that power is perceived. If foreign governments, analysts, and publics believe that China has advanced submarines already in the water, then China gains a strategic advantage, not by building the best submarines, but by convincing others that it already has. This deception is subtle, but intentional. It uses incomplete facts, deliberate ambiguity, and controlled leaks to generate a sense of technological inevitability. However, beneath this carefully constructed image, there are cracks. The development of any nuclear-powered attack submarine is an immensely complex undertaking, requiring advanced metallurgy, highly trained technicians, world-class naval engineers, and long-term testing in unpredictable environments. Even countries with decades of experience in this field face repeated challenges and setbacks. There is no credible reason to believe that China, with its history of quality control issues, industrial secrecy, and rushed defense production, has magically bypassed these challenges. Time and again, China has produced military platforms that appeared impressive in propaganda but revealed major shortcomings under scrutiny. Aircraft, tanks, drones, and previous submarines have all been hyped as world-leading, only to show performance gaps, logistical flaws, and design compromises once deployed. There is little reason to assume the Type 095 would break this trend. The pattern is consistent: announce, boast, censor, delay, repeat. This is the cycle of Chinese defense development under authoritarian control, where delivering a message is more important than delivering a result. The most important clue pointing to the exaggerated nature of the Type 095 program is its total absence from reliable international discussion beyond the confines of speculative reporting. Naval analysts working from outside China can only repeat what the Chinese government has chosen to release, and what it chooses to release is almost entirely unverifiable. Vague illustrations, grand claims, and anonymous sources are not evidence of progress. They are evidence of a regime determined to maintain control of the narrative at all costs, even if it means deceiving its own population and the international community alike. Within China, this deception is enforced through rigid control of social media, online forums, and all public discourse. If an incident involving a submarine occurs, it is either denied, erased, or reframed as an achievement. If delays or problems are revealed through external analysis, state media either ignores them or produces counter-narratives that obscure the truth. There is no transparency, no debate, no scrutiny. The goal is not to inform the public or admit difficulties, the goal is to maintain a facade of relentless progress. The Type 095 has become a case study in this model. It represents not an actual breakthrough in naval warfare, but a textbook example of how authoritarian governments manipulate perception to cover operational stagnation. Every unverified claim, every ambiguous leak, every censored discussion points to a project that is less about capability and more about control. Even if the submarine is eventually launched, the question remains whether it will meet the lofty standards it has been used to project. Judging by China's track record, this is highly unlikely. It is far more probable that the Type 095, if and when it enters service, will be yet another example of a system pushed into production to serve political objectives rather than genuine military effectiveness. Such systems often suffer from poor reliability, untested components, and ineffective integration, all common results of programs where truth is suppressed and appearances are prioritized. The Type 095 is not a weapon of war. It is a weapon of narrative. It exists, so far, not to dominate the seas, but to dominate headlines, headlines shaped by controlled information, amplified by repetition, and protected by censorship. Until this submarine can be evaluated openly and objectively, it remains what it has always been under China's system, a projection of ambition, not a demonstration of power.